Okay, so the next part of the walkthrough demo would be to actually run the tool. After we successfully configure the configuration file, then we can move on to run the tool. Now, in order for the tool to be run, first we need to gather up inside the folder the utility and the two JSON files. Okay, so what we need to do now is to open a command prompt with the following path to the folder where the jar utility is installed. Okay, and now the main command of running the tool will be this one. So this is composed of Java. Okay, and now we have here a parameter that will set up the JVM heap size memory to be the highest. Okay, this is also in case for larger projects. Okay, in the next parameter, we need to give the configuration, the main configuration JSON file, the name of it here inside this parameter, and then we need to put also the name of the jar file from the folder. So this will be config example and the name of the jar file present here. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll copy this parameter, okay, and go to command prompt. Now we're going to paste it here. Okay, so and now I want to tell you a bit about the migration modes and the run modes. So basically, there are multiple modes that you can run the migration to. The first one would be a preview mode, and the preview mode will not actually migrate anything. It will just check all of the environments and check all of the entities and see if everything is all right with the migration. And in case of something will go wrong, maybe an entity will fail to migrate, or a customization or a list, or any other error, then you will be able to see the error inside the preview mode. And then before starting the actual migration mode in data migration mode, then you can go back to the QC project or to the configuration file and make some changes. The next mode that you can start the migration tool is the actual data migration mode, and this is the main one. And when starting this mode, it will actually start migrating data. It will first check the lmqc and the lmoctane, and then it will try to migrate the customization with the list, the fields, the releases, and after that it will go into entity migration mode, and we'll start with requirements, tests, defects, and so on. So this will be the main migration mode. And for the preview mode, I forgot to mention, for the preview mode, you just need to put this tag inside the command line, the command line, and the migration will start in the preview mode. For the normal migration mode, you don't need to put anything, just the main command. Okay, and there is also another mode, probably the most important one. It's called resume mode, and you can run the migration in a resume mode, which is very helpful because what resume mode will do, it will actually check anything that failed in the previous data mode run, and it will try to migrate all of those failed entities again without duplicating them. So the migration tool being designed to be used only once, because it's not a synchronization tool, it's just a one-time migration. So it's recommended to be used only once, and it requires a better understanding and preparation of the projects, of the QC project before, and the configuration of the JSON file. And because of that, it's meant to be used only to be run only one time. And the resume mode will help you and trying to migrate again all of the failed items. So for example, if a defect was failed because of a field, then you can, after the migration was ran in the data mode, then you can go and check that issue and run resume mode, and then the resume mode will avoid duplicating all of the entities that were already migrated and try to migrate only the failed ones. Okay, and then of course we have a report mode where we can start the migration tool with, and this report mode will show you a more detailed report inside the command prompt. Of course, all of those are monitored in logs. So when you run the migration tool in data mode, automatically a log will get created inside the folder here. So this will automatically appear, and then you will be able to see all of the steps that migration tool took to run. Okay, so let's first start with the preview mode. This is the recommended way to start the migration first. Okay, so I just type the parameter preview here in the command line, and I will hit enter. And now the migration has started in the preview mode. It will read all of the details, also check all of the customization of the QC project. Usually the preview mode takes a couple of minutes, so it should not take very long. So I will let it finish till the end. Now it's at the step where it's analyzing all of the fields for requirements, for defects. It will not actually migrate anything, just checking and analyzing them. Now it simulates the creation of the fields, checking if everything is all right. Okay, and now here we can see a short summary where the customization check was done. Now it's checking the folders from the tree structure. And after this, it will move to the actual data checking for defects, requirements, and the other entities. Okay, so now it will check the requirement folders. See here the message, it used a batch, a bulk update to create the artifacts. Now it has moved to the requirement documents part. So this shouldn't take long because it's not a very large project. The demo project, it's a project consisting of mostly, I think around 200 entities in total. So that's why it shouldn't take very long. From time to time, you will be able to see a small report here, and you can see if we stop, we have a total number of requirement documents that were checked. Also, the duration of a migration it depends very much on the lmqc server and the Octane server, and of course as well as the internet connection and so on. And also the main one will be the number of the entities. This is the main thing to take into consideration for the migration time. Okay, now it has finished with the requirement documents and it has moved to the defects entities, and it's checking the defects right now. Okay, we can see some warnings there. I think there was about an attachment that probably it's warning something about us. But if it's not an error, then we shouldn't worry much. Okay, now it has moved to the manual tests. So it's checking the manual tests. Here we can see also a small report with the requirements, defects, manual tests. Also, when it's checking the tests, it will check the manual tests, the test sets, and the manual test run. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer for the checking of the tests. Okay, now it has moved to test set. And also it assigns all of the tests inside a folder structure and application modules in Octane. Okay, now it's assigning all of the manual tests. After it created them, it will be assigning them to the corresponding test set inside Octane. Okay, now it's checking the manual runs, the child items for manual tests. Okay, so it seems like we still receive some warnings about the file an attachment, the PNG image attachment, and it seems like something is wrong with the attachment inside the lmqc. So yeah, so in this case, for example, for that warning, we can go to lmqc and check if that attachment is properly added in the QC project, or it's something wrong with it. If maybe try to see if you can open it and so on. Okay, again, we can see a small report. So usually when we receive a warning or an error regarding the attachment extension, and probably it means that that extension is not supported in Octane. Okay, and okay, so it finished. Okay, perfect. So this is the preview mode has finished, and at the end we have a report here, and we can see exactly the requirement folders, the total number of them, the requirement documents, the total number, the defects, and we can see also failures regarding the defects, for example, and we can see that we have 0 failures in this case, and the warnings, 17 warnings. Probably there was those warnings about the attachment. Okay, and the same for test sets, manual test runs, and manual tests. Okay, so what I wanted to say also is that in case an attachment is failing, then what we can do is probably that because it's failing because the Octane doesn't support that attachment type extension. So if we go to the Octane project, and we should go at the space level, we have the parameters, and we have this parameter attachment file extension whitelist. Okay, so either we add the extension here manually, or we can put an asterisk, and then this means that all of the attachments will be supported in Octane and can be migrated. So also the migration tool then will be able to create those and migrate those attachments inside the Octane workspace. Okay, so let's move on to our command prompt. Okay, so our preview mode has finished. It took 14 minutes, almost 15 minutes to migrate. Okay, and we can see also here the report mode. It gives us at the end the extension, the parameter extension for the report mode that we can use, and also the resume mode. But first, before running those, we need to run the migration in a normal data mode. So we can check also here. You can see that some logs were automatically created when we ran the preview mode. And if we go to migration reports folder, then we can see here the last one. Okay, and we can open the date when this was run. Okay, and we can open the migrator log, and we will be able to see here all of the steps that migration took. Okay, and for this, let's search. We can search for an error message, check if everything was all right. Okay, and we can see that we didn't receive any error messages, only some warning messages. Warnings. The warnings were about the attachment. Okay, now let's move on and start the migration in the normal mode. So what I will do, I will delete the preview tag from here, and I will just start the migration. I can see now that it's starting in the migrate mode. Okay, so this will take a little bit longer, and I will skip it to the end, and we can take it from there. Okay, so now the migration has finished, running in the data mode, and we can see at the end that the migration tool will generate a report showing us exactly how many entities were migrating, and if any of them was failing, and also if any of them are pending. Okay, so we can see the defects, a total 62 of them, and zero failures, none were failed in this run, and the same for all of the other entities. And we can also check that it took 72 minutes to migrate the whole project, so it took quite some time. But again, it depends, the performance depends on many other things. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check the log that was generated. Okay, because we can see here we were in the preview log, and if we go back, another one was generated. Okay, and it is the migration log, and we can edit this one. Okay, and we can see here at the start of the log that it's saying it was started with mode migrate, so not mode preview, which was the case in the other log. Okay, and again we can check for any error messages in the log, and we can see that we don't have any, only 2 warns, for example, and this should be good. If we scroll to the bottom of the log, you can see again the report. Okay, so this was the data migration mode. Okay, and now at the end we can check also the mode report and mode resume. So in order to run the resume mode, it won't be very relevant in our case because none of the entities were failed. But just to see how to check that, and we can check also the resume mode. So in order to run the resume mode, we just need the previous command that we ran, and we just need to copy mode resume into the following in continuation of the original parameter. And what we need to do here is we need also to make to put a log of the report and the last report that was generated. Okay, and for example, if we run this now, you can see that it's starting with mode resume. Okay, and it's checking again all of the already migrated entities. Okay, it's analyzing the requirement and so on. Okay, so we can see now that the resume mode was finished, and this one took a little bit less time than the other, so it took only almost 11 minutes. You can see, and also we have a report of the entities that were also included and if there were any other failures. Okay, so everything looks good for now. So we run the tool in the preview mode, in the actual data mode, and now in the resume